Well, we're here today with Kimber Keating, the lead junior kindergarten teacher at Grymes Memorial School. And Kimber, thanks so much for being with us today virtually. We would love to be out at the school today, but we're so glad you can come share some wisdom with us through Zoom.
Well, I wish that you could be at the school too, because I'm not anywhere near as interesting or fun as the students that I teach. So that would be really special to have you there. And I hope you get to come and visit when we're all back in school again one day.
And there's a great article, an interview with Grymes Memorial in the April issue of Fred Parent, which you can find out in the community, but also digitally at fredericksburgparent.net. And Kimber, can you tell us how long you've been part of the Grymes community and what you do there?
Sure. Well, my family came to Grimes a little bit over 11 years ago. I was homeschooling my two older daughters. My youngest wasn't quite old enough for school yet. And quite frankly, so many people kept telling us, you really need to go and look at Grimes. You really need to go and look at Grimes. And we went partly because we were curious and interested in thinking about school, and partly so we could say, look, we've gone, we visited, it's fine. And by the time we left, my husband and I just knew it was just the feeling that we had as soon as we were moving up and down the halls, that was where we wanted our children to go to school. So my oldest began there when she was in second grade, and my middle daughter began there in kindergarten. That was the same year. And then the very next year, my youngest daughter was eligible for junior kindergarten. And then I went to work there, and that's been 10 years now. So I've been a parent, a volunteer, worked in development, worked in the front office, been the lead teacher in the junior kindergarten classroom. But that's been the bulk of my time there. I've spent 7 years in the mixed age 3 to 5 year old classroom, and it's my happy place.
What do you think it was that made you feel like this is home? This is our educational home when you first toured, and as you spent so many years there.
Well, we were looking for excellence in curriculum and learning and all of those things. My husband's a teacher. I'm a teacher. That was really important to us, was the quality of the education provided. But we also wanted a place where our children would really be known for who they were and supported and encouraged and cared for. And you could just feel that when you walked in the building, because it's a small enough place. You can be known, but you can also be small and not be that connected. There's also just a genuine community spirit there that made me feel comfortable with my kids being there.
Yeah, that's the feeling you want to get as a parent. And I think the piece in the magazine talks about how the day starts with a handshake with the headmaster, so that relationship building is clearly key. Now, since we went to press on the April issue, a lot has changed for us and for you, for everybody. So tell us a little bit about how Grymes is approaching learning right now.
Okay, so we were on spring break the week before St. Patrick's Day, so right up through March 15th. And during that week, our head of school, Jonathan Brand, in consult with lots of other people, members of his administrative team, outside officials, he sought a lot of wisdom, decided that we were not going to go back to school at the end of our spring break, that we were actually going to take 2 weeks. And so he made that decision in advance of anything else. So the teachers we were allowed to come to school to gather and put together materials that families were then able to come and pick up. And it was very well planned to be as careful as we could possibly be while giving parents what we thought was going to be, 2 weeks worth of helping everybody stay on the same page, stay in a school routine, and then we'd be back. Well, things really changed in the world in that very first week. And we found ourselves only 1 week into what we thought was going to be a 2-week closure. And our governor made the decision to close all schools. And so we took a day we finished that week, and then we took a personal day to regroup and to talk about what this is going to look like now that it's not a temporary
Hmm.
closure, now that it's a finishing the year closure. And we've met it as a full faculty and smaller groups of faculty. We've had lots of really good, candid conversations about things that people have tried, things that are working well, things that were not working well. And we're learning as teachers. We're really learning how to continue that relationship, continue that teaching, what our expectations are going to be for the remainder of the year, and I think we'll continue to revisit that as we get more and more comfortable. At first, almost all of our learning was asynchronous.
Hmm.
Not in a live sort of setting, but we're all sort of wading into what synchronous learning looks like. For some teachers, that's having reading group on the phone with your student.
Yeah.
For other teachers, it's actually teaching a lesson. Um, so we're all approaching it different ways. Junior kindergarten being the youngest learners to eighth grade, there's a big difference between what a 3-year-old needs and what a 14-year-old needs as far as content. But we're trying to support each other and just determine what's best. We've recently just put together sort of handbook about what our expectations are for online learning, and sort of what we'd like from parents, what we expect from students, what we expect from ourselves. And so we're just trying to be as open to feedback as possible as well, because like I said, we never intended to do distance learning as a school. So this is a crisis education plan, if you will.
Yeah. How are you seeing students respond to it? I mean, I would imagine there are some lessons being learned right now that aren't really academic related, but are you seeing any kind of resilience or just adaptability that is surprising you or is
I,
noteworthy?
I'm so proud of my youngest students. So I'll speak about the work that I've seen from my students, and then I'll also speak a little bit about what I've seen from my daughter, who's an eighth grader. My kids are so committed to doing the work that I have offered for them to do and are so proud to share that with me. So part of our distance learning is that we keep 4 hours worth of office hours every day where we are reachable by phone or FaceTime or Zoom, but well, Google Hangouts really is what we've come to prefer. But we are reachable by our children and our parents during those times. And I have loved getting to have one on one conversations with my students about what they're doing, and not just what they're doing with what I've sent home, but some of my students have helped around the house with projects, or they've built really cool Lego structures, or they have been set up this little art area and they've done all this amazing artwork, or their families have planted a garden and they get to take me through and tell me what they did and tell me about their process. And in a room of 20 small children, even with two wonderful assistant teachers, me getting to have 15 minutes of uninterrupted conversation with one child, it rarely happens. It's just not in the day for that to happen. And so those moments have been really sweet for me.
That's really interesting, that added connection that has come of this. And then how about in the older, how is your daughter faring in eighth grade?
Um, I have been so impressed with the way she has just rolled into taking responsibility for herself in a whole nother way. And I'm really proud of the teachers too. I mean, they're really trying some really fun, innovative things, and they're still holding on to things like advisory meetings. And
Mhm.
there was a trivia game that the seventh and eighth graders played online at 2 o'clock on Friday. They're not just focused on delivering the academics, but they really, really, really are focused on building and maintaining those, excuse me, relationships. So it's been great. I mean, not what I want. I'd rather be at school, but it's been, for what it has to be, it's been great.